we're going to have a conversation with Dr. Greg Popcak that is something that flows from those godly marriages, and that is children. Those are children. Yeah, and so want to talk about a study that he was involved in and some additional information that has come out. And Dr. Greg Popcak, want to ask you this questions about that survey. And all Catholic parents who are raising kids have this at the top of the list. What should they do when raising their kids to encourage them to remain Catholic as adults? Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you with us.
Yeah, good morning. This is a great topic.
Yeah, and we get you 2 weeks in a row. So we're blessed.
Exactly. Well, when you said that there was a fragrance, I was wondering if you were making a comment about me. But
must not be.
I was a little worried for a second there. I'm like, I showered. What are they talking about? Jeez. Anyway, sorry. No. So yeah, so there was a new study that came out through the Institute for Family Studies that's talking about what it takes to pass the faith on to the next generation. They were specifically looking at families who had done better at that than maybe other families do, because research shows that about 90%, between 85 and 90% of children raised in Catholic households will leave the faith by the time they reach adulthood, and that's tremendously heartbreaking. So I've shared this with you before. I did a study, co-authored a study with Dr. Mark Gray from the Center for Applied Research in the Apostolate at Georgetown University in 2024 that looked at Catholic families who successfully raised all of their children to a faithful adulthood, bucking that trend. And that study found 12 habits that these families practiced that enabled them to experience more closeness in their family lives, and also the sort of the way some of the people summarized it was that they experienced the faith as the source of the warmth in their homes. Well, this new study from the Institute for Family Studies looked at the same question. When they looked more broadly at Christian families, but what is it that enables families to do a better job? And what they found was something similar. They didn't get into the level of detail that we did, but they really argued that having strong, loving marriage and family lives is not a guarantee, certainly, that children will grow up to be faithful, but it significantly increases the likelihood, because as we shared in our study, it shows the faith was making it was seen as the source of the warmth in the home. And on top of that, they talked about those other important things like attending church faithfully, praying together as a family, making sure that you're building a stronger relationship with your kids, because that's stronger, that relationship, the more the kids want to be like you and believe as you do. Being involved in the parish in some way, but not letting that crowd out family life. I think that a lot of Catholics in particular think that it's somehow selfish to work on our marriage and family lives because, quote unquote, nobody else benefits from that. And it's more important to spend time and energy, say, in the parish or in the community. And that's not to say that doing outside ministry isn't good. It certainly is. But we tend to forget that the primary ministry that married couples are called to is building their marriage and family lives, because that's a sacrament, right? That's our vocation, and also it benefits the church because it gives the church it gives God strong bricks to build a holy church and a just society. Because of course every family is a domestic church and is the building block of the kingdom of God. So this new study really confirms the importance of family life in passing on the faith to our kids. And it's not just the prayers that we say or the conversations we have about faith, although those are important. What enables them to stick is that lived experience of God's love in our homes.
And obviously, you start talking about this idea of 100% success rate and all that, Dr. Greg, but there are no guarantees of this, right? Because of the free will of the individuals. But quite frankly, when you've got habits that are there present with families that have had the success in raising their kids to adulthood in the Catholic Church, you have to pay attention, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, saying that there are no guarantees doesn't mean that there aren't ways that we can maybe stack the deck in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, we right now have a success rate of about 10%.
Right.
It would be hard to do worse.
Yeah.
So if we could learn from those families, that we could learn from those families that actually have habits that experience success, I think that we would really all benefit as a church.
So, what are the statistics for children who leave the faith and come back later when they get a little more experience in their life? Do you know?
Well, that's actually dropping significantly. Now, it's hard to kind of know what to make sense of that data in light of, for example, the recent Gen Z experience of reversions and all. But historically, it used to be fairly high,
Right.
Upwards of 40 to 50%. But as time has gone by, that has decreased, where children don't really see themselves as spiritual seekers anymore. They see themselves as spiritual samplers. And so what tends to happen is that they'll cobble together their own version of spirituality or faith that doesn't involve a faith community. So even when adult kids used to get married, have kids, and then they think, oh well, I want to give my kids a faith, and then they'd come back to the church. That's not happening nearly as much as it used to.
Okay, so that whole idea is still out there that I'm spiritual but not religious, right? I mean, that's been the mantra.
Yeah, I mean that's not just out there. That's the national religion.
Yeah.
But the good news is, again, by when couples and families really embrace doing what we're called to do anyway, work to make our marriage and family life strong. That's what's giving roots to all of our other faith formation efforts, right? So all the other stuff is good, but again, in our study that we did a couple of years ago, we found that you could go to church every week and pray together every day as a family and homeschool and do all the other things, right? And none of it'll stick. At least it's much less likely to stick if you're not really working on the marriage and family life, and the kids aren't experiencing the faith as a source of the warmth in the home.
Absolutely. The faith matters in a case like that, and I would imagine they'd be more likely to come back to the faith even after straying, just to recapture that authenticity.
Exactly. So really, and what drives it, you were talking about kids coming back to the church in adulthood. What drove all that was a sort of a sense of cultural identity. But we've really almost lost 100% of that.
Yeah.
The thing that makes kids come back now is that they realize, if I want to have good relationships as a grown-up, I want to have a good marriage, I want to have a good family life, I want to have, and I see that the faith played a significant role in making that happen in my home.
Right.
So
Greg, where do people go to find out more about this?
They can download the Catholic HOM app or go to CatholicCounselors.com if they want more personalized assistance.
Love it. Thank you so much, Dr. Greg Popcak.
Thanks, Greg.
My pleasure. God bless you guys.